It's that time of the podcast again where it's quick fire questions to establish more useful information on CVs, interviews and starting a job. This quick fire is with the CEO of the Sole Supplier, George Sullivan, who I know has loads to share. Right, so George, just the quick rule, it's 20 questions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a question and I want you to give me your fastest, most gut reaction, because the quicker a reaction, the more honest it is.
Agreed.
If you don't like a question or can't have an or don't have an answer, please say pass and we'll move on to the next one. And in my opinion, the quicker you do it, the better you are. So I'm not going to give you any competition, but we've had some really quick people before.
I like that sales pitch there.
Cool. Yeah, just down to you. Right, you ready to crack on?
He's convinced me. Yep.
What does the word entrepreneur mean to you?
Someone that's obsessive, that lives and breathes their passion and takes it to fruition, not just in their mind, but into action.
Well rehearsed. When you're preparing for any big meeting or pitch, what's the one question you ask yourself beforehand?
Rather than asking myself a question, it'll be more about something I shared earlier in the week, putting on my favourite song and giving myself some affirmations. So this is going to go great, I'm feeling positive, I'm thankful for where I've got to, and think about your mum, dad, your family, your girlfriend, and how important they are to you. Nothing's bigger than that, so stop worrying, do your best.
What's the one characteristic you always look for in someone when hiring?
Integrity, honesty.
What advice would you give to someone today who's writing their CV tonight to apply to a job tomorrow?
Make sure you put your key achievements at the top, make sure the text is breathable, and relevant experience related to the job at the top first so the employer can see it.
What advice would you give to somebody when they interview terribly but their CV was perfect?
It depends what you mean by terrible, because if they are just nervous but they're still communicating the right things, then I'll give them some leeway. But don't write loads of rubbish on your CV and then not be that person, because again, you're not honest and you're going to get found out quick.
What's the first thing you look for when reading a CV?
Relevant experience first. I don't care about what was your most recent. I care, well, as long as your relevant experience was in the past 2 years and it was a longer term piece of experience, I want to see that first. How does that relate to what we're employing for? And I'd love to see, if you're in a senior or more established career, what are your key achievements? What have you done? Let me see that, highlight that.
What engages you to keep reading that CV?
Consistency and interesting companies for a senior role, and for someone that's brand new, someone that's passionate, someone that gets their passion across quickly. Not just a generic personal statement or the generic duties. I want to see, what have you done, what did you like, why was it important to you?
What's the best way to leave a lasting impression on you thanks to the CV?
I want to walk out of the room feeling energised. I want to walk out of the room feeling positive. You know, you have those business meetings with people, not necessarily an interview, but a business meeting where you go, I had a great time. Or that person, it was a great meeting, I feel energised. If the employer walks out feeling like that, there's a very high chance they're going to invite you back. They're feeling very positive. So keep it upbeat, keep it positive, and that's going to help me.
What's the thing that most people leave off their CV?
They don't go into enough detail about their passions and what they're interested about. I think it's a really important part of a person's character, not just what they do at work, but what are they interested in, what do they buzz about outside of the office. And people are afraid to put achievements sometimes. They focus on the duties rather than the achievements, whether they think it's bragging or boasting a bit too much. Look, you're trying to get a job, you're trying to beat other people to that job, put them on there.
What's the worst thing you've seen in the CV?
Can't answer this one quickly.
I'll ask you another one. What's the most annoying thing you've seen in the CV?
A funny thing I've seen on a CV, an honest thing, was a guy who was part of the Psychedelic Society. And I thought, what are you getting up to in your spare time? Yeah.
Right, interviewing. What's the first thing you look for in a person at an interview?
That first impression's got to be good. You know, make eye contact, be polite, courteous, and make sure you are there slightly early. You know where you can park, you know if the train's going to be late, what your connections are. Do not mess that up. If someone's late, it's a real bad first impression. It's an old school mentality, that.
So the interview started. What keeps you engaged throughout the whole interview?
If you can relate what your experience is to how it's going to help us, and then you're also going to ask questions about our company whilst relating it to what we're asking you, that's a great conversation. That's a flow. That's what's really going to keep us engaged, yeah.
Okay. What's the best way someone can leave a final impression as they leave that interview room?
I would close them. Whenever I've been in an interview, I close them at the end and say, when can I expect to hear back? I'm really interested to talk to you more. You know, leave that first impression, shake the hand, smile, and just say, I can't wait to hear from you. Something positive and upbeat as you leave the room.
What's the one question most people struggle with during an interview?
People that are new definitely struggle to ask about the salary. I think if they ask more about, you know, I'm looking for this, and they don't approach it, and then it comes to later stages and they're like, well, actually I'm looking for this. So I kind of wish you'd told us that earlier. But then if you're more experienced, people definitely struggle to ask. That comes with experience, the salary thing. You people just get that out there. But yeah, I don't know, it's a hard question.
Okay, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing somebody's done in front of you during an interview?
I'm definitely sure that someone was drunk or had smoked something before they came to our interview one time, and this guy was just so wacky. Like there was just me and my colleague Dan were just laughing so much after, and we have a catchphrase from that interview 4 years ago that we still use today. But I won't tell you that because he'll know who it is.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
That was the worst thing. What's the most annoying thing somebody's ever done in front of you during an interview?
Most annoying thing is someone that kept mentioning the World War II and, you know, Nazi Germany. It's just like, man, stop mentioning that. It's just a touchy topic. It's awkward here.
And final question,
Yeah.
short, concise, what's your killer interview question?
What is the biggest challenge you had in the last job that you were in, and how did you approach it?
Boom, we've done it. Well done.
Nice one.
Thank you, George.